Learning the right way to handle the Volvo articulated hauler will make your work safer and reduce machine wear and tear. Please note that this film is an introduction to the operator's manual, not a substitute. You should always consult the operator's manual for complete details. Make sure you're up to date with local safety regulations regarding transport rules, personal safety gear, and maintenance, etc., as they may be different from what is shown. Safety should always be your main concern on the construction site. Well-trained operators and properly maintained equipment, together with a well-planned worksite, will provide a solid foundation for the safety chain: operator, machine, worksite. It's important that you get to know your hauler. You need to be completely familiar with the instruments and controls, as well as the machine characteristics and service intervals. So, make yourself comfortable and welcome to learning more about basic operating instructions for Volvo articulated haulers. Before you start the machine, you should always carry out a pre-check of the hauler. This is important for safety. Walk around the machine with the engine switched off. Make sure that there are no leaks or loose machine parts and that the tyres are in good condition. If the hauler has been serviced or transported, make sure that the steering lock has been removed and secured after servicing or transportation of the machine. Check the hydraulic oil level indicator as you enter the cab, and be sure to use three-point contact when climbing up. A three-point contact means that you should always use at least 3 contact points consisting of 2 hands and 1 foot, or 2 feet and 1 hand. When cleaning the windshield or the rear window mirrors, always step on the slip-protected walkways. Make sure that you use the handrails to obtain 3-point contact at all times. There are also 4 anchor points where a safety harness can be secured, if required by local regulations. Turn the ignition key to position 1. Remember to let the machine's pre-start check finish. Now turn the ignition key to position 3 and release it once the engine starts. If the machine is an active suspension model, check that the hydraulic suspension switch is active. You can always abort any movement by pressing the switch again. Do not activate hydraulic suspension when the machine is strapped down, or if there is anyone close to the machine. Adjust the operator seat and the steering wheel so that you have a good working position. Check the rear view mirrors and adjust them if necessary. And remember to fasten the safety belt before moving the machine. The integrated Volvo Copilot monitors oil and fuel levels and displays an early warning on the dynamic instrument cluster display if anything is wrong. Use the integrated Volvo Copilot to access information about the engine, transmission, hydraulics, etc. It's important to know that there are 2 warning levels: yellow and red central warning. The yellow warning means that the cause must be investigated the next time the machine is stopped. The red warning means that the machine must be stopped immediately and the cause investigated. Do not attempt to operate the hauler until the problem is solved. There is also a blue level for low priority information, for example washer fluid level. Turn on the headlights, optional work lights, and the warning beacon if required. Make sure that all lights are working correctly. Adjust the climate control to a preferred temperature in the cab. Close the windows and door, and make sure that no one is close to the machine. Check the entrance camera for any hidden objects. Perform a stationary brake test to make sure that all brakes work properly. Follow the instructions in the display. There is also a parking brake test. Please consult the operator's manual for more information. Apply the service brakes. Release the parking brake and put the gear selector into the drive position. The cab of the Volvo articulated hauler is a safe working environment. It's designed in accordance with the standard ROPS, Rollover Protective Structure, and FOPS, falling objective protective structure standards. If the hauler rolls over, stay in the seat and hold on to the steering wheel. Do not try to leave the cab until the hauler has come to a complete stop, and remember to always use the safety belt. There are 2 emergency exits in case the door cannot be opened. The windows have breakable glass. In case of emergency, use the emergency hammer to break an emergency exit window of your choice. The hammer can also be used to cut the seatbelt. If you need to immediately stop the engine, use the emergency stop. Please note that this only stops the engine and hydraulic movement. No brakes will be applied. Fill up diesel and AdBlue and DEF tanks at the end of the shift. This will reduce the risk of condensation in the tanks. When parking, use the service brake to bring the hauler to a complete stop and apply the parking brake. If the machine has active suspension, lower the machine by pressing the switch. Let the engine cool down for a few minutes, running at low idle speed, and turn off the lights. Turn off the ignition. This also disconnects the main switch automatically when the system is ready. Please note that the service switch should only be used for service or an emergency disconnect, for example, in case of short circuits or electrical cable fires. Use the retarder pedal for smooth and planned speed reduction, and the service brake pedal for stopping the machine. The accelerator pedal is located to the right. The All Diff Lock button is located on the floor. The Volvo Integrated Co-Pilot screen includes controls for work lights, warning beacon and climate. The Dynamic Instrument Cluster or Central Instrument Panel includes tachometer, speedometer, indicators for gear, warnings, side and slope, as well as indicators for fuel and AdBlue or DEF. The Dynamic Instrument Cluster will also display a warning if the side and slope inclination is too high during a dumping sequence. The Volvo Integrated Co-Pilot provides the operator with important information. All vital machine functions are monitored, and specific system data is displayed if a problem occurs. Examples of such functions are the engine, transmission, hydraulics, brakes, electrical system, machine information, and service. The settings for several machine functions like climate, light, and radio are also controlled in the Volvo Integrated Co-Pilot. The Volvo Integrated Co-Pilot also registers and saves operating data during the work cycle, including fuel consumption, speed, gradient, cycle count, and distance in real time. The Dynamic Instrument Cluster is also an important source of information, providing the operator with warnings and data. But for more detailed information, the operator should check the Volvo Integrated Co-Pilot. He or she can also consult the operator's manual for more information. The instrument panel contains a number of switches and buttons, controlling a variety of functions. To the left, we have the controls for hazard flashes, headlights, and electric operation of rear-view mirrors. And to the right, hydraulic suspension, emergency stop, and ignition. The ignition has 4 positions: the off position, radio position, running position, and starting position. The ignition lock also controls the electrical main switch. The machine's control panel contains several switches, some of which serve dual purposes. The cruise control switch, however, does not. Its upper and lower sections are used to set the speed and to increase or decrease it respectively. Next is a dual-purpose switch. Pressing the upper section engages the engine brake. while pressing the lower section activates the downhill speed control. The next switch is also dual purpose. Pressing the upper section engages the longitudinal differentials, 6x6, while pressing the lower section activates automatic traction control, ATC. Next, we have the gear shift inhibitor, and immediately to its right is the gear selector lever. And to the right of that lever is the tipping lever. A bit further down is the parking brake, and to the right of this switch is the storage box for hot or cold meals or drinks. D stands for drive. Forward operation and the transmission shifts automatically. The new gear shift lever is equipped with a spring-back control connected to the D and R positions. The chosen gear is displayed in the dynamic instrument cluster. The machine will automatically shift to neutral when the parking brake is engaged, but you can still shift to neutral manually using the N-marked switch. Pressing the plus or minus switch activates the limited shift range and sets the highest gear the machine can use. The gear shift inhibitor is used to hold the gear in certain situations. It's activated manually, using the round button to the left of the gear shift lever on the control panel. The gear shift function holds the current gear and prevents the machine from unnecessary shifting between gears. The dynamic instrument cluster will show you when the gear change inhibitor has been activated. The machine features several safety functions that protect the engine and transmission. An example of this is that the gear selector automatically returns to neutral gear when the machine is turned off. This means that the machine cannot be started with a gear engaged. Consult the operator's manual for more details. The Volvo articulated hauler offers powerful and accurate steering. The hitch gives you a great off-road mobility without frame twist. When turning, make sure that nobody is standing close to the machine, as the machine folds at the hitch. It's also important to know that the front end of the trailer moves outwards when turning. Pay particularly close attention when operating in narrow, tight areas. To set your speed, use the downhill speed control. If the ground conditions are slippery or icy, the retarder can be an alternative. Once you release all pedals, your hauler will maintain the current speed automatically. Press the accelerator to increase the speed and use the retarder or brake pedal to decrease it. Volvo articulated haulers have retardation systems, which provide speed control during the whole work cycle. For example, when operating downhill and when slowing down before curves. The Volvo engine brake is activated with a switch on the instrument panel to allow continuous use of the engine brake. When activated, it is automatically applied when the throttle pedal is released. The operator can maintain higher average speeds throughout the work cycle, thanks to fast response, high continuous availability, and high performance of the retardation systems. Use the retarder pedal for planning speed reduction and the service brake for stopping the machine. Once activated via the downhill speed control switch, the function will automatically maintain the set speed. The ATC switch controls the automatic and manual modes, which means that four-wheel drive and six-wheel drive are controlled automatically when the function is activated. The ATC automatically selects six or four-wheel drive, depending on the ground conditions. The ATC also comes with a terrain memory, an automatic function that identifies and saves slippery surfaces using GPS locations. It will then automatically activate six-wheel drive when you approach the slippery terrain during the next driving cycle. In extremely soft or slippery conditions, use the All Diff Locks floor button. This will engage all differential locks so that all wheels turn at the same speed as long as the button is pressed. Differential locks may be engaged on the run, but make sure that none of the wheels are spinning. This can damage the differential locks. Release the throttle before engaging the locks, and remember to disengage the locks before operating on firm ground or at high speeds. Machines equipped with hydraulic suspension have automatic leveling for improved productivity and operator comfort. Remember to lower the suspension when parking, before servicing, or when transporting the machine on a trailer. It's a common procedure that the excavator or wheel loader operator indicates the loading position by placing the bucket just over the point where the hauler should be placed. The operator of the excavator can also assist by sounding the horn when the hauler is in the right position. Make sure that you operate so that you can see the loading equipment in the rear view mirrors and reverse straight up to it. The most efficient loading position is loading from the back or side with an excavator, or from the side with a wheel loader. Volvo articulated haulers are equipped with a patented load and dump brake function for ease of operation and safety. When you are positioning the articulated hauler for loading, stop and press the load and dump brake button. This will automatically apply the brakes and shift the transmission into neutral. The operator of the loader or excavator will normally sound a horn when the body is full. The hauler has also been prepared for the installation of the optional onboard weighing system, which allows the load to be monitored via the Volvo integrated co-pilot display. Contact your local dealer if you're interested in this option. There is also a set of external indicator lights that will help operators of wheel loaders and excavators monitor the loading. Amber light turns on when the machine is 75% loaded. The green light indicates correct load, and the red light indicates overload. When the onboard weighing system gives you the green light on the Volvo integrated co-pilot display, you are good to go. When loaded, press and hold the service brake and choose direction on the gear lever. The load and dump brake system will then disengage the brakes automatically. Overloading reduces machine stability, safety, overall performance, and component life. It also increases fuel consumption. Note that the operator of the hauler is responsible for not overloading. Make sure that no material can fall off during transport. When operating, the gear shift lever shall normally be in drive or D position, which enables the transmission to automatically shift up and down as conditions require. The parking brake acts as an emergency brake. Rain and bad weather can change operating conditions. Make sure you adapt the speed of the machine accordingly. Rough and rocky terrain or soft ground conditions may require diff locks. Activate these with the All Diff Locks floor button, but make sure that none of the wheels are spinning, since this may damage the differential locks. Please note that you need to keep pressing the floor button for as long as you need diff lock. Don't continually use the same wheel tracks. This will only make them deeper. Overlap the wheel tracks and alternate between them instead. Adjust the speed before starting up steep uphill gradients. The hill assist engages when the speed drops to 0 km/h or when you press the brake pedal, bringing the machine to a complete stop. This will help you operate the machine after a stop on grades. Consult the operator's manual for more information. Use the gear inhibitor to lock the gear if necessary. The Volvo hauler can normally be operated on gradients of 20 to 30%. The specific site conditions must be evaluated by the site manager. The hill assist function automatically engages when you're operating on a slope steeper than 10%. This will help you operate the machine after a stop in grades. Please note that hill assist won't engage unless the machine has come to a full stop. Consult the operator's manual for more information. Before you operate downhill, it's important to study the grade and retardation chart in the cab. It'll help you select the right gear and speed. The downhill speed control function helps you to control speed when operating downhill. thus greatly enhancing safety. But remember that you can never operate downhill in neutral gear. If necessary, check the dynamic instrument cluster screen to determine the gradient. The maximum side slope gradient on which you can operate is 15%, but the specific site conditions must be evaluated by the site manager. The cruise control function can help you maintain a desired speed. You activate the function by pressing Set on the cruise control switch. The system will now maintain your current speed. You can see your selected speed on the dynamic instrument cluster. To deactivate cruise control, press the brake or retarder pedal and press Resume on the cruise control switch to reactivate it. To achieve a smoother operation, try using cruise control over somewhat uneven ground. You won't need to keep your foot steady. Consult the operator's manual for more information. The OptiShift function is developed to enhance productivity in slow operating situations on flat ground, like when loading or dumping. When shifting from drive to reverse or reverse to drive, the hauler will automatically brake. When the speed is slower, it will shift to the requested gear. When slowing the machine down automatically, you can, if needed, apply more braking force using the accelerator pedal, which will now work as a retarder. There's a difference between operating an unloaded and a loaded hauler. The loaded machine moves a heavier mass, thus increasing the response times for both acceleration and retardation. In addition, it has a higher center of gravity, so it's always recommended that speed be altered before entering a sharp curve. It's also recommended that you pay attention to the behavior of the body in rough terrain, as its movements are not transmitted to the cab. It's important to maintain a high level of safety on your worksite. The operator's manual contains a lot of information on this. Haul roads must be properly maintained, and ground stability, especially at dump sites, requires continual improvement. The site may also need designated meeting areas, adequate lighting, and appropriate stop or warning signs for low bridges, overhead cables, and other potential hazards. The tipping lever has 3 positions. The hold position keeps the dump body still. Pull the lever back for dumping. The body up indicator shows when the body no longer rests on the frame. The maximum dump angle can be set on the Volvo integrated co-pilot screen. This function will help you restrict the maximum machine height of the load body. You can see the actual dump angle on the dynamic instrument cluster screen. This will help you determine the stability of the dumped material and how it'll behave on a slope. Push the lever forward for lowering. When positioning the articulated hauler for dumping, always check the ground stability and the area behind the machine. It's important to position the hauler straight and level, as the center of gravity changes when the body rises. If activated, the dump support system will warn you if the side inclination is higher than your set value. When the slope becomes critical, the outer ring and the entire field of the inner ring turns orange. If the slope percentage is exceeded, and the operator has locked the possibility of raising the body, tipping is impossible, and an alarm message will appear. With a Volvo hauler, it's easy to dump over an edge. Do not reverse too far. The rear axle must remain clear of the edge. Use the yellow positioning markers on the mudguards as a reference. Use the load and dump brake to automatically apply the service brakes. Move the tipping lever to the dumping position to raise the body. Please note that dumping over an edge is not allowed in some countries or workplaces. Check local regulations. When dumping is completed, press and hold the service brake pedal and move the gear selector to D. The load and dump brake system will then disengage automatically, releasing the brakes. Lower the body by pushing the tipping lever forward. Remember to lower the body as soon as possible to avoid getting caught in low-hanging cables or low bridges. This will maximize ergonomics, enhance productivity and safety. When stockpiling, Position the machine straight and level, close to the previous pile. Before lowering the body, move the gear selector to the D position. This will allow the machine to be pushed forward by the load, forming a nice pile. Use the brake pedal to control the speed of the machine. A tailgate increases the body volume and is very useful when transporting loose materials, especially when going uphill. Make sure that there are no large boulders or tree stumps that may get stuck in the tailgate opening when dumping. Never start the machine if the steering wheel has a warning tag. This indicates that a service job is being carried out on the machine. If you need to work under a raised body, secure the hauler with the steering lock and the body by applying the body safety lock. If the body lock is up, make sure that the dump body lock is disconnected before lowering the body. The hood is hydraulically opened by an electric pump, but you don't have to open it all the way. It can be opened into a service position for easy access to the engine compartment. Swing down steps make it easy for you to reach the front-mounted oil and fuel filters. Remember to never access the engine compartment while the engine is running, and beware of hot areas in the compartment. And when you need to refill engine coolant, washer fluid, or transmission oil, simply open the service hatch integrated into the walkway. We'd like to end this film with a few suggestions on how you can help protect the environment while also saving money. It's important to always carry out scheduled service and maintenance on the machines. Check the tire pressure, lubricate the grease points, and always use specified oils and original spare parts. Also, remember not to leave the engine running when it's not in use. Another important recommendation is to use the downhill speed control function when operating downhill, as it reduces wear and tear on the machine. Using the retarder pedal is another option for reducing speed under these conditions. Good luck!